Come on. Welcome into another episode of Dipo's Den. I am your host, Evan DiPasquale, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the Bills debacle on Monday Night Football. But today I have a very special guest, the co-founder of Bills Mafia, or the one who really kind of made this brand what it is, and the co-founder of 26 Shirts. I had to make sure because I wasn't sure if you were the founder, so you're the co-founder of 26 Shirts. Del Reid, thank you for joining the show and welcome to the den.
Yeah, thanks so much, man. It's actually co-founder Bills Mafia, founder 26 Shirts, but we're good. It's all good. I'm not looking for the effort was there. It's all good, man. No, thank you so much for having me on, man.
So for anybody who doesn't know, and I'm sure you talk about this a lot, how did the whole Bills Mafia thing come about?
Yeah, I'll give you the abbreviated version because it's a long. It can be a long story, but yeah, I was joking around with some fellow Bills fans uh, after Stevie Johnson dropped the pass against the Steelers in overtime way back in 2010. We were teasing Adam Schefter. One of my co-founders, Breon, had made a hashtag called Schefter Breaking News. We were teasing Adam, ended up getting blocked by Adam, a bunch of us, and then fast forward to the week of the draft in 2011, and I did a Follow Friday tweet that named a bunch of us that had been blocked, and I said, "Follow the Bills Mafia." It was just a joke that I made, like a tongue-in-cheek joke, like Adam was being really oversensitive about blocking us, and it just kind of over the weeks and months that followed, just grew in its virality with fellow fans, and eventually the players adopted it, and then Bree and Leslie, my co-founders of Bills Mafia, we decided there was an opportunity here to do something special, not to make it about ourselves, but something cool that could like unite the fans in the middle of this terrible playoff drought. And from there, Bills Mafia was born.
So one thing I like to ask, well, now, have you met Adam Schefter, or has he unblocked you from Twitter?
He has unblocked me. Big shout out to Sean, my Twitter / real life now, real life friend. He campaigned to have Adam unblock me, and I hope I'd love to get the chance to meet him. We've been featured in the same news stories about Bills Mafia and the same podcasts about Bills Mafia, but we've never interacted directly. So one of these days, because there's no hard feelings on my end. I know there's none on his end. So
Yeah.
I'd love to meet
Hey,
him someday.
I mean, I think he does do a podcast, so I think that that would be super awesome to, be a guest on his show. Um, but I think that it's just what one thing I do want to know, you're the founder of 26 Shirts. Do you remember the first like shirt that you guys sold?
Oh yeah, of course. It was inspired by a little girl named Amber Lunn, and she had a condition called retinoblastoma, which is eye cancer. And her father was telling me about it through Twitter. I'd never met him before. He just reached out to me and was looking for help to spread the word about his daughter's, the need they had. He was raffling off a jersey to just to help with, all the treatment and travel costs associated with that for his daughter. And um, anyway, yeah. So the design itself was based on Marquise Goodwin, who called himself Flash back then. So we did a Flash '88 shirt designed by Mike Bedard and supported Amber Lunn.
Oh, that's so cool. I mean, you're the shirts that you've got are like definitely iconic. Like obviously the one of the first things that I think of is the Pancho Bila shirt, and it's got Pancho Power. Um
Mhm.
just what what I'm assuming you probably met Pancho Bila. I can't El Castro, I think that's what his real name is or something, or I could be wrong
Yeah,
about Ezra.
Ezra
There we go.
Castro.
Ezra Castro. Like what did he mean to Bills fans as someone who was a guy that lived in El Paso and just grew up this big Bills fan and had this big persona of being Pancho Bila?
Yeah, thanks for bringing him up. In my opinion, Ezra will always be the face of Bills fandom. Um, I did have the chance to meet him a few times. Just a special guy, a huge heart. Um, I remember when he, shortly before he passed away, he called me. I'm sure he called like a bunch of different fans that he knew and friends and stuff, and said, "Just want to let you know that I'm taking my battle to hospice." And I just thought that was such a, first of all, heartbreaking thing to hear because you know what hospice means. It's like
Hmm.
basically end of life care for the most
Yeah.
part. And uh just but the mindset that he had, I'm taking my battle to hospice. Like I'm not giving up through until it's all said and done. I'm not giving up. He was just a really special guy. There were times he'd be at training camp, before Bills games, and he had become kind of an icon among Bills fans. And even as he's fighting through cancer and visibly exhausted, especially in his getup that he would wear in the heat,
Hmm.
um, he just took time and he talked to every fan that wanted to get a picture with him and signed whatever. Just he was a beautiful soul. His girlfriend Veronica, wonderful person. They have two great kids together, and yeah, I'm glad because you don't hear, as the years have gone by, understandably, you hear less and less about Pancho.
Hmm.
And, um, I thought it was really, we shouldn't forget about such a great guy. He was such a, beautiful soul. And when I won Fan of the Year a couple weeks ago and they had me on Channel 4, I made sure I wore my Pancho shirt at that interview because he will always be the face of Bills fans.
Yeah. And I now getting to fan of the year. Did it seem kind of funny that the person that told you that you were going to be fan of the year was Stevie Johnson?
I don't know if it was funny. I thought it was really thoughtful of the Bills to make him a part of it because he's part of, I guess my origin story, for lack of
Yeah.
a better way to phrase it. And I've gotten to know him. I wouldn't say pretty well, but I've gotten to know him, over the past, 10 plus years, and especially since his retirement, he's around Buffalo more.
Mhm.
Um, just a great guy, wonderful guy. I was talking to some of the Bills employees as I was walking out after that really cool surprise. And they said, "Yeah, we were trying to think of different ways to surprise you. We were thinking about maybe doing some kind of shirt because you're a shirt guy." But then when we found out that Stevie was in town, it was a no-brainer that he had to be a part of it. So for him to lift up his jersey and to see that on the shirt underneath it it was amazing because the first away game I'd ever gone to, believe it or not, wasn't until 2010, and it was
Was it
that
the
game.
Why So Serious game?
It was the Why So Serious game, and I remember when it happened. We're up in the end zone, up way up, me and my dad. And I'm like, what did he do? He did something. Like I couldn't even tell what he did. Um, and he had 3 touchdowns that game, and they came back and beat the Bengals. And then the next week was actually the Pittsburgh Steelers game that I mentioned a few
Mhm.
minutes ago. Um, so definitely that whole origin story. So for that whole thing to play out like it did, like they really made it special, and like it was really cool.
Now your wife has been such a huge part of how you got one fan of the year. A fun I This is gonna probably be like how I'll always remember first meeting you was it was at your wife is a teacher at my alma mater, Sweet Home, and all of a sudden, while I'm at this high school football game, she was wearing a Pancho Villa like jacket or hoodie, and I said, "Oh, that looks really cool." And literally the first thing that popped into my head was that looks like something 26 shirts would make. And I mentioned it, and then she goes, "Oh yeah, look right next to you," and it was you. And I was just like, holy bleep. Like I'm just like I almost felt like I was meeting a celebrity. I mean, do you ever feel like you're kind of a celebrity in Western New York?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I guess sometimes, like, if I am, I'm a Z list, but I try not to take it too seriously. I mean, I don't take it too seriously. And when people, and it's only like a certain segment of Bills fans, like the ones that are really dialed into everything with the Bills that even know who I am. Um, and I used to be really weird if someone met me, they wanted to get a picture or something. I used to make it make it a whole awkward thing, like, oh, you really want my picture? Okay, I guess, because I feel weird. It feels weird. But then once I realized, like, it's not about me. Like, in that interaction that I'm having with that person right then, it's about their love of the team and their fandom. And so I'm like, yeah, let's do it because it's not about me. It's about how much they love the Bills. It has nothing to do with Del Reid.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, it is kind of weird, like being in Disney World and having somebody stop you and ask to take a picture. A lot of
Really?
things have to line
Wow.
up for that to happen, but that has happened. Yeah. So, um, but it's I take it all with a grain of salt. It's I made a joke on Twitter. It took off. Now people recognize my face. So
I mean, one thing that I like, one of the first things that I can think about you, or at least the first time I can remember seeing your face was when you were like on a FaceTime video with Andy Dalton on after, he helped the Bills break the drought. How were you one of those, were you like one of the first people that kind of started that, like, sort of foundate that, like, the idea of donating $17 to Andy Dalton's foundation, or was that kind of just someone else?
that was Kevin Forrest. It was his idea. He at the time was living in Grand Island, Nebraska, not Grand Island, New York.
Mhm.
But he's been a lifelong Bills fan, and it was his idea to do the donation. And you know, as it started to catch on, I saw it and I thought this is an amazing idea, and just I just tried to give it a little bit of a signal boost. But Kevin and I have become like decent friends, as much as we can, like this distance apart that we have. But whenever he's in Buffalo, he and his wife, we've gotten to know each other. So we're Facebook friends, so we see each other's lives going on and everything, and comment. But whenever they're in town, they come over for dinner with me and my wife, and yeah, all credit to Kevin on that one. That's him. That's him. But it was kind of cool to get to FaceTime with Andy Dalton.
Who has been
Great
like the
family.
Oh, I'm sure. Who's been the biggest celebrity you've met, like, whether that's the football world or just life in general? Whether that's like through FaceTime or meeting them in person.
That's a great question. I mean, I've had the opportunity to meet all of the Super Bowl Bills, that people think of, like Jim Thurman, Andre, Bruce, Daryl Talley. Um, and I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of the current Bills and recently current Bills, like Lorenzo Alexander, and you know, met Josh once or twice in very brief moments, because we're both at a West Her event together or something.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I'm trying to think of like in the celebrity world, but I don't know. At the end of the day, like everybody like puts their pants on, one leg at a time, just like you and me.
Mhm.
And some people are able to use those legs to run faster than us, or maybe they're able to use their arms to catch better or something. Um, but at the end of the day, we're all the same. We're just, you know, good at different things, and some of those things that we're better at, others maybe they're just more visible. There's more money in the world coming your way because you're good at that specific thing.
Yeah.
But every person I meet, I try to give them the same attention, whether they're an NFL quarterback or a fellow fan like myself. It's really we're all we're all people. We all have a soul. We're all um, our own person.
Now, you say you're the founder of 26 Shirts. How'd you come up with the name 26 Shirts? Because 26 sounds like just like a really out of the ordinary type of number.
Yeah. So credit to my buddy Jake, who accidentally, I guess, coined that term. Yeah, it was going back now to 2013, and I had this idea. I was used to go to this men's Bible study slash accountability group on Monday nights, and we're sitting there and we just talk about what's going on in our lives and stuff. And I'm sharing the story about Amber, who I mentioned earlier, and how it was kind of mixing with this idea I had where I wanted to start like some kind of like t-shirt, I don't know, company for lack of a better term,
Mhm.
um, where we just sold designs that were relevant to what was going on right now. So fast forward for an easy example, Josh Allen jumps over somebody, we make a shirt about that. You know what I mean? Something that's like super timely. Anyway, so I'm talking with my buddies, and I'm like, I think I would like to sell a different shirt every week and help a different family because, you know, Buffalo fans are so hungry for merchandise and for anything they can wear to rep, how much they love their teams. Um, so it doesn't matter if they're good or bad, or really. And they kind of walked me back from that a little bit, and they're like, "Hold on, you have a full time job, you have a family, doing a shirt a week, especially since you have no artistic talent, isn't gonna work." But I said, "Okay, but I think I could do it every 2 weeks. I'll do it for a year. Just a 1 year community service project, just to help who I can with this attention I'm getting from Bills Mafia, the social media audience."
Mm-hmm.
And my buddy Jake, I still remember like it's burned into my brain, or like it's a movie scene that I just watched, like sitting right to the right of me, and he goes, "Dude, that's like 26 shirts." And I was like, "Yeah, I know, but I think I could pull it off." Next morning, I wake up, and that's all I could think about was 26 shirts, 26 shirts, 26 shirts. And luckily, it's a weird name. And the number comes from, 52 divided by 2, 26 every 2 weeks. And it's a weird name. So nobody had the domain. Nobody had any of the social handles, anything like that. So, and now we release like 2, sometimes 3, occasionally 4 shirts a week. So the number means nothing now, but
Mm-hmm.
it's our brand.
Yeah, I like it. I think that that's really just really cool. And what are some favorite shirts that you've made him like? And what does it mean knowing that the money that you're making from this is also going to a good cause?
Yeah. So those questions both kind of dovetail into each other. I mean, obviously, I have some personal designs that like hit my eyes better than other ones do. But my
Mhm.
favorite ones that we've done, are the ones where either I've had the opportunity to really connect with a family, or one of the ones that have done so well that they made such a difference in somebody's life. So I guess one example is a design we did. It was like our fifth or sixth shirt we did, and it's called Buffalo Football. And it was just three buffaloes on a football field, done by freelancer Jordan Mars, and it raised money for a young man, Nathan Brundage, who was fighting cancer. And Nathan has since passed away.
Oh,
But during that time, I got to know his family, and they are just dear. They're just dear people. So even though that design didn't sell super great, if I remember correctly, or I think actually that's a lie. I think it did pretty well for what it was. Um, but um, it wasn't about the money that we could raise. It was about connecting with that family. They're just such great people. Um, and then on the other side of it, one of the shirts we did a shirt right after the Bills won the division back in 2020 for the first time in like 100 years.
oh, wasn't it
And
like how the Bills stole the AFC East? It was based off of the
yeah,
Grinch.
yeah, how the Bills took the division. So that we sold over 3,000 shirts. We raised almost like 25 grand for this guy. His name was
Wow.
Ralph. And I forget the exact name of his condition, but like it happened, if I remember correctly, it happened to him when he was in between jobs. So he had no health insurance, and then he got diagnosed with this disease, and he just had like mountains of medical bills piling up. And so to be able to write a check to somebody for $25,000 or nearby 24 and change, whatever it was,
Mhm.
um, knowing the difference that you're making in that person's life just because you sold a shirt, um, it was pretty amazing. So based on those criteria, those are 2 of my favorite shirts we've done.
Yeah, some of my favorite ones, like I mentioned, the Pancho Villa one, and then I never got this. Tre'Davious White is my all-time favorite player, and um, I'm assuming you probably got the Trey White Goalie Academy through his how he did stuff with the Sabres and Marty Biron. Was that like did that go like did the money that you raised for that shirt did that like go to Tre'Davious' charity that he has? I'm not sure if he like has a charity or something like that.
It's a great question. we've become so well known over the past 10 years, which is really humbling, um, to think about like this idea that how it's just taken hold and how people think of us so much. We become so well known that other companies will do shirts and they think it was us. So the Trey White shirt that you're referencing was actually done by PSE. Like it was done through their One Buffalo brand, like shop.onebuffalo.com. So that was, now that artist we've worked with in the past on some of our shirts, and the style for that specific shirt you're mentioning is done a lot like what our creative director does in his de facto style, like the same kind of illustration type. But that wasn't even us, so I couldn't tell
Oh,
you what happened with that shirt.
that that was like now I feel dumb, but
No,
it
it's dude, you're fine. It's fine. It happens all the time. We get tagged in all these different shirts all the time, um, for stuff that we didn't even make. And it was kind of funny that the party that we had last week for our 10-year anniversary. We had a thing like show up in one of our shirts and be entered to win, a prize pack, and it had tickets to yesterday's game and some shirts and hats and stuff. And people were showing up wearing other companies' shirts, thinking they were ours. And
oh
you laugh at it and you give them a ticket anyway for the giveaway. Whatever, it's fine. You can be gracious about it, but it's kind of funny how just like everybody just assumes a design is a 26 shirts shirt.
yeah, absolutely. I gotta ask, if some people people who listen to the podcast or might not know, I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan. I'm even wearing my Pink Floyd hoodie that my mom got for me. Shout out to mom. Um, what what inspired you to do that Dark Side of the Moon shirt? The where it's, instead of it being the rainbow, it's basically like a Zuba coming down on the other side of
Mhm.
the pyramid.
So shout out to Bill Santa, as he's known. If you ever see him walking around the stadium, it's got a, I think he has like a Santa outfit, and it says Bill Santa on the back with it, like it looks like a jersey and stuff. I actually sat next to him at a fundraiser dinner back in over the summer, and he mentioned to me how he was a huge Pink. I forget how we were talking about it. We were talking about music or whatever, and he said that he was a huge Pink Floyd fan, and he had this idea of what if, and he described that shirt. And I don't remember if he mentioned Zubaz directly, but basically a Bills ish Pink Floyd Dark Side of the
Hmm.
Moon design. And so credit to him. It's the 50th anniversary of Dark Side of
Hmm.
the Moon this year. It just kind of all played out, and we have a great relationship with Zubaz. So um, I'm able to reach out to them and say, "Hey, are you cool with this design? Are you cool with that design?" And they'll approve it or whatever. And and just great people. Bob over at Zubaz, awesome guy to work with. So easy to talk to. Really have enjoyed getting to know him the past couple of years. But anyway, yeah. So that was shout out to Bill Santa. That's his idea.
Okay, because that's like always been like one of my, that's my favorite album of all time. I mentioned that to you before we started. It just to me like I like it's one of those albums where I feel like you can just press play and listen to it all night. Maybe because my brain is like wired differently, but when I hear like a song from Pink Floyd, the next thing in my head is okay, I'm expecting the next track from that album. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
I can't listen. I sometimes well I not sometimes I can't listen to Pink Floyd on shuffled because in my
Mm-mm.
brain I'm wired to think, oh, so say the song Money played, the next song I'm thinking is going to be Us and Them. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah, it's just, Dark Side of the Moon, The Wall, a lot of those 70s albums, Aqualung, like they're meant to be listened to front to back. Like
mhm.
they're not meant to be carved up, or 97 Rock just plays Money or Time or whatever. It's meant to be listened to all the way through. Those concept albums are amazing. And
I
yeah,
love
those
it.
are.
I love a concept album. Love
Mhm.
something that and it tells a story and it's like, The Wall is so cool, but yet it's so like kind of creepy at the same time. It's really, weird, I guess is another good word to use. Um,
Mm.
one thing I do want to ask is you've been a long time season ticket holder. I'm not sure how long. What has been your favorite memory being in the stadium at a game?
Oh, the Bills Patriots playoff game a couple years ago. That game, I didn't get to go to 51-3. When the Bills went to their first Super Bowl, and I'm told that whole second half was like a big party because everybody knew they were going to the Super Bowl. So the closest I've come is beating the Patriots in like -4 degrees or whatever it was. That Micah Hyde interception, just everything. Like they score on every drive. I remember telling my buddy who went with me to that game, like they have to score every drive. Every drive has to have it. I was saying that like before the game started or as the kickoff was going. And wouldn't you know, like that's what they did. So even as cold as I did not feel the cold. It was, I was fine. I was toasty that whole
Oh,
game. I danced the whole second half. I just dancing in my seat. So
we were at that game too. Now you probably have better seats than we did because I know you say your tickets are like on the scoreboard side of the back of the end zone, I believe, correct? Or is it on the tunnel
other
side?
side, tunnel side,
Tunnel side. So we went to we were just like we wanted to get just like really good seats, or not really good seats, but just like cheap seats. So we didn't care where we sat, and we were and I like to mention the I remember that game for two reasons. One, because the Bills kicked the what out of the Patriots, where they kind of did that to us for 20 years. And secondly was because I somehow dropped my phone going when I was in the stadium after I got my ticket scanned, and I was like searching for my phone, and God bless whoever found it, and they gave it back to the lost and found. Because like that's
normally
it
doesn't
wasn't.
happen.
I know, like how many people would actually take their like see a phone and be like, you know what, I'm gonna give this to the lost and found rather than I'm gonna take this and this is gonna be mine, or
Or just kick it
sell
or just ignore it.
it.
Yeah.
So that was probably what I remember most about that. And obviously, I'm an Eagle Scout, so I definitely know how to stay warm. Like I even mentioned the blizzard game back in 2017 against the Colts. People said, "Oh, you must have been freezing your butt off," and I tell people I was like, "No, I was sweating," because I know that it's kind of hard to stay warm if you're in a stadium, but if you're moving around, that'll keep you warm. And that's kind of what, and especially when a game is exciting like the Patriots one was, or close, that's how you stay warm, is by keeping, just moving around, or dancing like you were saying. So all right, we had a game on Monday. There was some big news that came out. What was your thoughts leaving the stadium after what happened on Monday?
What am I forgetting from Monday? Do you mean Tuesday? What happened today?
Talk yesterday's game.
Yes. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about what happened on Tuesday, and I got fixated on the Dorsey thing. As I was leaving the stadium last night, just was a lot of head shaking. Just a lot of head shaking. It was. It's frustrating. It feels like since the Jets game last season, it has just been a tough go. And the second half of the season, they were able to squeak out wins. They all, up until that last Bengals game, but it just every win just felt like it was so hard fought. It was so difficult. And this year, aside from those 3 wins there against the Raiders, the Commanders, and the Dolphins, it's that same feeling. It's that same feeling again, except they're not getting a lot of the breaks that they got last year that resulted in wins. Um, it's been frustrating. So it's been a year now. It's for the past calendar year. It's just felt like everything is uphill. It just feels like every effort is an uphill battle with a few exception games here and there. So last night, it's tough based on like the way they've been playing. I didn't leave surprised. I left
Mhm.
disappointed, and I thought they were going to win going into the game. But when I left, like I wasn't surprised. I was like, "Ah, I think they should win this game. They should win this game. Um, so
I mean, yeah.
just a bummer, just a bummer.
That's what I thought too, like I was thinking this was I did on my podcast last week. I said that I felt like you got to prove that you got to show that you're better than this team, and they didn't show it, and it kind of showed on the first play from scrimmage, the fumble, and then James Cook was kind of put in McDermott's doghouse for a bit, and then he goes back into the game, and then they start moving down the field, and everything looks great, and then another turnover by Gabe Davis. Now, I feel like a lot of people when they look at the the turnovers by Josh, I feel like that's a it's a problem, but I feel like it's something that can be fixed. The turnover problem that Josh has been having.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like several of those interceptions have been on like the same play where he
Yeah, I
throws
think
to
that.
the sideline
Mhm.
and the cornerback picks it off.
Mhm.
So I don't know what they're thinking with that play, what they're seeing, but a lot of this stuff is preventable.
Mhm.
A lot of it. It's just been frustrating to watch because you see this for so long. Like every season, Josh was coming back better than the year before. There was like 2 or 3, 4 seasons where 19 was better than 18, 20 was better than 19, 21 he had improved on stuff from 20, and like it just I don't know what it is. I don't know. Is it the now former coordinator? Is it the is he losing? Something that nobody ever talked about is like he hasn't his quarterback coach Joe Brady. Um, it was Ken Dorsey. So is he losing stuff from? I don't. You don't. We just don't know. We
Mhm.
know that there's been some changes around him, and so it's hard for Joe Fan, at least for Del Reid to look at what's going on the field and say, I bet it's because of this. We don't know, but there's and Ken Dorsey. I don't know if you saw the tweet that Dan Orlovsky put out this morning, Tuesday morning.
No, I
Um,
didn't.
Oh, look at look at Orlovsky's feed, or look at my feed. I retweeted it like twice, I think. Um, he just picks apart a play, and just it looks like a high school offense the way that he was describing it. And so I don't know if Dorsey was the problem, but he was definitely a problem. When you're looking at some of the analysis that people much smarter than me are providing. So I don't know. I'm just rambling here because
No, you're
just to
okay.
overstate how much I don't know what the issue is here. They have the talent. Josh Allen has proven over the past 5 seasons that he is an elite quarterback. Now he's run a lot less this year. Uh,
Mhm.
I don't know how he's being coached. But we know we've seen him deliver, so we know it's there. We know the ability is there. So we just gotta. It's been locked up, and we have to find a way to re-unlock it.
Yeah.
They have to find a way to re-unlock it.
Well, you can. I feel like as a fan, you can say we when it comes to your team. I mean, if I'm talking about the Bills, I'll say we need to be better at this spot. Um, which kind of a couple people I'm seeing a couple comments that like someone uh mentions can we mention the elephant in the room on firing Ken Dorsey to make things different. What were your thoughts when you first heard it? You heard the news that Dorsey was no longer the offensive coordinator for the Bills.
It really was. I mean, I tweeted like, "Well, we wanted we wanted heads to roll, so that's a head. It's rolling."
Mm-hmm.
Um, Sometimes it's not even the exact change; it's the fact that a change was made. But again, going back to the uh, the Dan Orlovsky tweet, like, dude, this is the NFL. Come on, I don't care if it's your first year, second year. You're in the position of offense coordinator. You need to coordinate the offense in a way that's a professional level. There are only 32 of you in the league. There's only 32 of you at this position. That stuff is just not acceptable.
Yeah, it was just I get back to looking at last year. I kind of gave him a bit of a pass because yeah, he was a first year coordinator. Blah blah blah. I guess we all want to kind of try and give passes because we're like we hate sometimes we want to see people fired. Sometimes like as I guess for me as a fan, I feel bad for Ken Dorsey because I know he's a good coach, but I guess that there was just so much high expectations that was left behind from Brian Dable that I just felt like he tried to he tried to be Brian Dable, or at least try to uh, make Brian Dable's offense. And that's when I kind of make this. Someone told me this and I really liked it. Someone said that he felt like that Brian Dable was like a father to Josh, so he knows how to reel him in if he's, if he's getting too sugar high Josh, but he also but with Dorsey, I feel like he's kind of acting like his buddy. Yeah, throw the ball, 60 yards down the field and, we want to take shots, be kind of like the sugar high Josh. So that's like the thing that I really noticed. And then to also put on, you had this game against the Dolphins where you put up 48 points against a team like a week ago put up 70. I think it was a week ago. They put up 70 to the Broncos. And look at what happened here. I I just look at it from a standpoint of they have not been able to put up 30 points since that Miami game, and we know that there's something capable. I mean, there was a players only meeting, so I think that for me, it was just something that was just really shocking to see that you have this offense that can really rock and roll, and then you know it just ended up kind of killing them. And then obviously, um, this team, I've heard people say the team hasn't been right since 13 seconds. I don't know if that's true. I don't know how you would feel about that.
I mean, it was definitely a catastrophic loss. And whether it was the defense's fault, whether it was the special teams' fault, um, it definitely is something that anytime a game ends and there's an immediate name for that game, like you say 13 seconds, I know exactly what you're talking about. Anytime a game ends like that, it's either very good or very bad. Um, and it was a very bad loss. It was something that they should have won. They should have won that football game. They should have been in the AFC Championship. So they haven't been right since. It's coupled. It kind of dovetails with the fact they lose that game, and then Brian Dable's gone. And there's more than just one factor there, but a lot of things happening at once can really, mess up something, which is a finely tuned offense. I don't know. I think a lot of the fans, we haven't been the same since 13 seconds. So I think it's a valid thing to say. Um, I don't know. I'm not in the players' heads. I don't work for the
Mhm.
team. I'm not around the players. I'm not around the team. You have no idea what's going on with the temperatures in that building. Like Ken Dorsey got fired today, but and like I said, the stuff that he was doing in that one play that Orlovsky picked apart, it's inexcusable. But at the same time, he's not responsible for 12 men on the field when the
Yeah.
Broncos are kicking a field goal. So I mean, yeah, I had rolled, but there's a lot of issues at play. There's a lot of things going on with this team. It's more like, I think we were talking about it in the office today. We were talking like, is the problem McDermott? Is the problem, Dorsey? Is the problem the players? I said the problem is the Bills. The problem is the Bills. There's like, and I don't mean it like jerky. I mean like we don't know. We just don't know. And there's so many things going on. We have like 53 plus players on a roster. You have all the coaches. You have the organization. You have all these different things going on. And the problem is the Bills. And the Bills need to figure out what is going on with them. I don't know if that means the ownership, the front office, the coaches, the players. They've all got to figure it out. Somebody's got to figure it out. But there's a lot of
Yeah.
things going on. Everybody has their own thing they could probably work on. It seems like.
But hey, look on the bright side. At least the Sabres are like kind of, this bright new thing. Like, did you I don't know if you ever have you guys made any shirts with with Devin Levi and how he does his meditation thing? I know I'm kind of skewing from football now to something else. So has that ever like crossed your
Um,
mind?
yeah, we've thought about it. It's we did one shirt. It looked like the Levi's logo, but it said Devins or Devin or something on it when he had his first start at the end of the season last season. Sabres designs are tricky, only because they're more of a regional fan base as opposed to the Bills, who are a national slash worldwide fan
Yeah.
base. I always joke that when people leave Western New York, when they move away, they take their Bills fandom with them, but they seem to leave their Sabres fandom here. I don't know. That's not true in every case. I know my
Yeah.
buddy Kevin that I went to high school with. He's like, no, I'm still a Sabres fan. I think he's a Panthers fan now, but like, so he swapped that
Huh.
little illustration. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. So yeah, anyways, to answer your question, sorry, I'm kind of rambling here.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, it's we've not done that design at this point.
I've might be a good one to choose hopefully in the future if like maybe if the Sabres make the playoffs. But I will say that I just want to say just thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it, especially kind of someone that has been so big in the community with not only what you do with 26 shirts and the fact that your your company doesn't they make these shirts but they don't keep all the money. They're going to the causes to help out people of Western New York or people that are maybe they don't live in Western New York but or in Buffalo but they have ties to Buffalo or they used to live in Buffalo. Like what you do for this community is something that is incredible. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. And I really appreciate all that, you do for, the city and for Western New York with, just bringing awareness to different charities and bringing awareness to, just making good out of even like how you mentioned with Bills Mafia. It was something that kind of was funny where you're teasing a highly known NFL reporter and you turn it into something good.
Yeah, no, thank you for the kind words. I always say we're a fundraising company. We're not a t-shirt company. It's just that people like t-shirts,
Yeah.
myself included. So, but our focus is to help families in need. And, I always joke how, everybody thinks it's the Del Reid show. It's not the Del Reid show. It is the Western New York show. I don't know how to put it. Like there's 6 other people that work here with me at 26 Shirts. Not only that, our fellow fans that believe in what we do, that support what we do, we can draw all the different t-shirt designs we want. If people don't believe in our mission, they don't support us, nothing happens. And so I always say we get a lot of credit for other people's generosity. So it's very humbling to play the role that we do in Western New York culture. We're honored to do it, and we're grateful to everybody that helps make it a thing.
Well, before we go, if you want to just, shout out any social medias or any other like, charities that are going on so people can know like where to find you, maybe what if there's any big shirts that are going out and what that could lead to, what charity there or family that you're supporting or helping out.
Yeah, just I'm at Del Reid and on Twitter, and at Del Reid 26 on Instagram and Facebook. At 26 Shirts on all the different major channels. We've always got good designs going on. We're doing more and more stuff that is not t-shirts. We're trying to offer designs on multiple different products because people love us, but they also only have so much, dresser space. And so we're doing our best to give people stuff, reason to come back and keep supporting these families. Um, and I guess one current thing that's going on, I just learned last night that Lincoln Station, a very popular Bills backers bar in Chicago, had a fire. I believe a local firefighter there, died trying to
Oh.
help with that. And in Buffalo, we're kind of familiar with that story, with
Hmm.
Jason Arno and everything. So, um, but so check my Twitter. I reposted a GoFundMe last night. I've reached out to the bar to see, how I can help, or even just whatever, how we can help. And so I'll continue to post about that as I have information. But my heart just goes out to those people. And like I said, I've been to Lincoln Station several times in my Chicago trips. It's a great place. I hope that they come back bigger and better. But really, our heart goes out to that family. So sorry to end your podcast on like such a
Oh,
down note, but that's what's
no,
going
it's
on.
okay.
That's what
That's sometimes what happened. Life happens, and it's something that can happen. So hopefully, we can help out wherever help is needed, because like we are, and I think that that's really what this comes from, is that we're the city of good neighbors, that we help each other out, and when, in times of need. So I can't thank you enough for coming on the podcast, and hopefully we can do this again sometime. Hopefully, maybe after like a Bills Super Bowl, and or something like that. Hopefully, fingers crossed that the Bills turn this around and maybe they get to the Super Bowl. You can be at the Super Bowl watching, the Bills play, and hopefully, you get to, hopefully you'll enjoy your trip to Vegas.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't want to go to see Patrick Mahomes win another Super Bowl for the Dolphins. Oh my gosh! So
Would
come
you
on,
end up
Bills, let's do
selling
this.
them?
No, 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 no. They're not even mine. I mean, they're it's the gift of the NFL. But no, I'd
Ah,
still go. Maybe we'd walk around the concourse. My wife and I, like, let's just walk around the concourse. Let's look at some other stuff. There's got to be other stuff we can look at. We have to watch Tua or whoever it is, um, doing whatever. There's no AFC team I could be okay with seeing. There's none of those teams I want to. Like, I could be like, all right, I'll go watch the Eagles and the 49ers. Of course, that'll never happen. But I don't want to go. Yeah. So come on, Bills, turn it around. Come on, let's go 12-5. Let's get in there, get it hot.
let's go, Bills. All right. Thank you so much for coming on. You've been listening to the latest
Anytime.
episode of Dipo's Den, and we will see you next time.